With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool.
Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Stand by. The vacuum tubes are warming up. This is a special live broadcast right here on Georgia Radio.
Well, once again, you have joined us for the Georgia Folk and Farm Life Radio Show with Matt Jolly and me, Wade Peebles.
You looked really surprised when I pointed at you. You were like, what?
Yeah, I'm dealing with Conway. Conway's been a bad boy. And
he ate your commercial.
Yes, he did. I wrote a new commercial. I put it down, and I hear paper ripping, and he's doing what he does.
Well, you better read the old one then, because we want to keep Meeks Brothers.
It was about Meeks Brothers Cattle Company, and he loves them so good. He was trying to eat the ad copy for it.
That's a good save.
Conway, the beef tastes better than the written word, buddy. Yeah. I'll tell you, you know that.
Well, I'll defend your statement there. You were pretty hot under the collar a few minutes ago, but
I was. I'd never mad with the baby, but I was aggravated.
Yeah.
And guess what? We have my favorite guest. It's Harvey Williams, because he's such a great friend, a stalwart Christian friend and brother in Christ, and just a wonderful guy. And I know y'all all know who Harvey is. I don't have to, they always say, well, here's a man that needs no introduction. Well, then people go on to introduce them, right? But I'm not going to do that. Y'all know Harvey. Hey, Harvey.
Hey, Wade, man, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. Conway's down here chewing on my hand. But, it's great to have you as always. And what are we going to talk about?
Well, I think I'll talk about my latest project, and that's a photo book. I've gotten several requests over the past 2 years to do a photo book, and I kept putting it off, and for one reason or another. And so I think it was last week, it just hit me, hey, it's time to go, man. It's time to do it. So when that hit me, when that move hit me, I have to move with it, man. But
I'm glad you did. You should. This book's long overdue, because it's going to be a popular, a good seller, because you get to see your work here on Facebook and on our group, yours and all the Georgia Prayer Partners and at photo shows where you and other things that you're involved in. But a book is something that you can keep and carry with you. It's more permanent. And I want a copy. I want a signed copy, by the way, autographed copy. And I don't care how much it costs. It's worth it. I'm going to buy it. And so how did you talk about how do you go about choosing? That's not easy to do, to choose. Now, you say how many photos are in the book?
Well, I counted just before. I knew you guys were going to call, and it's over 70 species.
Okay.
That's
well,
over 70 different birds.
How did you boil that? Because you've got tens of thousands of images, and so many are they're all great. Some are just heart-stopping, and they're just absolute beauty. So was it a hard process? I know you just sat down and said, I'll put this one and this one, but was it a hard process, or did it come fairly easily?
It was not. Well, let me say this, Wade. I kind of narrowed it down to the last 2 years. I've been doing this for about 3 years. So I narrowed down to about the last 1.5 or 2 years, and the reason being is with the help of the Lord, my photography seems to continue to just improve. And I wanted to present the very best that I have, because not only do I represent myself, I also represent South Georgia, and especially my little small town, Willacoochee, So I wanted to put out there my very best. So after procrastinating for 2 years, I said, it's just time to jump in and start doing it. And so what I had to do was just kind of go for it as far as the best photos. But believe it or not, I could have done this, although I procrastinated for 2 years, I could have done it within 2 days, actually. But as we speak, I'm looking at the screen right now, and I'm still making minor changes, which means pictures. I go through this thing. Well, I think this picture is going to be better, that. But I'm quite sure I'll finish it up tonight. But it was not an easy task. There's some people, some I just had to leave behind. So,
well, some of your pictures stay in my mind. I've got a lot of your pictures indelibly printed in my mind, and some were the eagles. And a picture, it was probably earlier than the period you're talking about, where the bird is flying over the water, and he's a gray bird, and his reflection in the water, you can't really tell which is which, upside down or bottom. You know what I'm saying? The reflection is the bird.
Right.
And it's nothing else but water and that bird in that picture. I just love that picture. And then the ones of, the birds with the fish in their talons, and it just so many that you have just captured amazing shots of anhingas and eagles and herons and egrets and ducks and didappers and coots and you name it. You've taken their pictures, or they've sat for you. And it seems like birds do that. All animals that you photograph seem to want to be photographed by Harvey Williams.
Well, I think it's divine. Has to do with divine favor, actually, because I'm amazed. I'm really amazed myself once I get home and I import the pictures to the computer to see what I've captured, and then what I really had to do, Wade, was, and people better understand this: you don't just jump out there and start taking pictures. I mean, about the countless hours. I spend many hours each week in the field, and during that time, I'm studying these birds. You study them, you learn their behavior, then you're able to anticipate their next move. So, and I love the challenge. I mean, the more difficult a bird is to photograph, I mean, the more challenging it is. I mean, I just love it. Because I've said in my mind, I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you, guy. I might not get you today, but I will eventually get you. And so far, that's what I've been able to do. But the birds you mentioned, about the fishing talons and the reflections and stuff like that, things like that, I do have some of those in the book. But what I tried to do this time was to pretty much just focus on the species itself, not so much as the activity, but just the species. Right. A good, clear picture of the species, and give a general description of the species. And I go back again when I make another book, which I'm anticipating. Then you'll see more action. But I'm pretty sure people will be satisfied with this one.
Right, Harvey, I've thought about what an education you've had to get in a fairly brief period of time. Now, when you started this, you went out and taking your photographs in nature, and it became something that you an avocation or love. But you had to learn what these birds were. You can't just take a picture and say, "Hey, here's a pretty gray bird." Well, you've learned a lot, have you not? In a very brief time.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, I mean, because when I posted on Facebook, whatever I introduced it, I don't want to call a duck a dove. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've got to be accurate, because again, I'm representing myself. I'm representing the state of South Georgia. I'm representing my hometown, and I got to be accurate. So I make sure that I do my homework, and then I have friends as well that helps me. If I'm not familiar with a bird, there are people that can help me out. But I believe in teaching what is right, and out of all the things I do, I just want to make sure I'm right. So I check and I double check before I stick a title on a bird.
Very good. That's amazing. Matt,
I had a question. You were talking about your favorite images, and one that comes to mind for me is not an image of a bird sitting, but it's a bird flying. And Harvey probably knows what I'm talking about. I still love that picture of the woodpecker in flight. I don't think I've ever seen anybody, take a picture of a woodpecker flying around. Everybody's got him up on the tree, but somehow Harvey, captures this bird in flight.
I know exactly the one you're talking about.
Yeah,
and it's the first. I think it's called a Paeti woodpecker. It's the one that woodpecker with the red head and everything.
Right.
It's the very first one I photographed, and the way I came to photograph it is I was out by the lake and I noticed this bird flying, and I knew it was unusual. It was unusual. It was an unusual flight pattern the way he was doing his wings and everything. So not knowing what it was, I take a picture of it. So when I took pictures of it and it came by, I realized what it was. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
I just think
it's flight.
Yeah, such a neat one.
Their flight pattern, Harvey. I mean, it's something you may not know that would just made me think about it. A lot of woodpeckers' numbers have been they've been precarious because woodpeckers get hit by automobiles a lot, and trucks. And the reason is when they leave a tree, they dip, they go down and then up. They don't fly straight.
Right.
And they'll be on one side of a road and they dip when they go across the road and then go with the idea of going back up on the other side. And that's what causes a lot of them to be killed. So they do have an unusual flight pattern, and they don't usually fly long distances. They're where they're made. They're just free. Right.
Yeah, they're almost like base jumpers. They jump off and they kind of swoop down and get their airspeed up, then pull up. And I just think they're really a beautiful bird in flight.
They are.
It was cool to see that, Harvey. I didn't mean to distract you, but that was
no problem.
That's a great image, and I'm sure it's not in the book.
What I would like for you to get a picture of the ivory-billed woodpecker, and that's been extinct for. And they were big. They were people, called them Lord God bird, and I read. Why they were called that was because when people would see them, they'd say, Lord God, what a bird. And they were much larger than the pileated woodpecker. They look much like them, but they have a ivory-colored bill. And they were the last that were known was, I think, in the 30s on a Singer sewing machine company built, tens and hundreds of thousands of sewing machine cabinets. And they would buy entire tracts of land to cut hardwood off of, and it was a tract in Louisiana, a Singer tract in Louisiana that was the last sighting and recorded sighting of a ivory-billed woodpecker was there, and they've been going. But if you ever see one of those, take his picture. You'll be famous.
Well, I'm sure. Well, I'm sure because the birders, when I meet different birders, we often talk. Sometimes talk about the ivory-billed woodpecker. So I'm pretty sure that's probably not going to happen.
Harvey, I saw one 2 different times on the Altamaha at Lanes Bridge on the bluffs over the river at Lanes Bridge in 1978. People would say it was or wasn't, but I know what one looked like, and it was bigger than a pileated woodpecker. He was ivory-billed, and he looked, and I saw it 2 different times. Now, whether anybody wants to believe that or not, but that was a long time ago, and so anyway, let's get back on. So I know eagles are something that's kind of a holy grail of photographers getting great. When you came to visit me one time, we rode around Garfield and near where I lived out there in the field, and because you was with me, we saw an eagle, right? And you remember that day?
Yes, sir, I remember.
I said, Harvey, there's never been an eagle out here. You're with me there. Look up. There's a bald eagle. That eagle was there because you were with me. Because I think God blesses your work. I think God
no doubt, brother.
Yes, and He is the ultimate creator and owner, and He knows every bird. And
I could not do it.
No, you couldn't do it because you wouldn't have the love nor the patience nor the drive or determination, because it's a bit of a service to the Lord, what you do. You bring God into it. And very few photographers do that. When you come into nature, can you imagine being a nature photographer and not being a man of God?
Yeah. I don't understand
it. An alien and an alien man.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine that because I mean there is just no way that I could get some of the pictures I get without God. I mean, you can't convince me. Otherwise, there's no such thing as luck or being in the right place at the right time. I go where I need to go, you know. But I want to share this. You know, I posted on the Georgia Folks and Farm Life that I wanted to make sure people understood tonight's show is not about advertisement; it's about encouragement.
There you
and
go.
what I want to mention is, I remember probably around the first 6 months to a year that I started wildlife photography and posting, and a friend of mine in Homerville, he invited me to join this group. This photographers group, and I did. And man, I'm looking at their photos, and I'm like, man, this, I can't post my stuff. This is ridiculous. You know what I have, and compared to what I'm looking at, these guys are sharp. You know, so really, I was intimidated, and I left the group. But then my friend sent me another invitation, so I went back again. So I decided, this is the encouraging part. I decided I'm not running anymore. No, I'm going to come up. I'm going to step up to the bat, and I'll step up to the plate, and I'm going to hit some balls. And it was a motivation. That fear was motivation for me to become better. And then at that point, once I rejoined the group, my goal became to be better than I was the last time I was in the field. And
go ahead, Harvey. When I ask you to, and that we've told that story before, I ask you to be a bigger part of Georgia Folk and Farm Life because I saw something in your work and you impressed me, even in the time that you would say you were in the beginning stage that you weren't, as advanced you are. But I saw something, and others did too. This man has got something. And I ask you to either go away or be a bigger part of it, basically. And that's how we got to be friends. But anyway, right, it's time for a break. We're going to go to a break, Harvey, and when we come back, we'll pick up right where we left off. Hi, this is Wade Peebles from Georgia Folk and Farm Life Radio. I'm here to tell you about Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. And you don't have to worry about supply chain issues or where your beef comes from. Do what I do and call Meeks Brothers Cattle Company today. You can get a whole, half, a quarter, any amount of beef you want. Good quality beef, vacuum packed, lasts up to 3 years in your freezer. It's grass-fed, grain-finished, made to order. Visit Meeks Brothers Cattle Company on Facebook today and tell them Brother Wade sent you. And that's Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. Thank you.
Right now, you can get free carpet installation from the Home Depot. So while we're putting in your new carpet, you'll have more time to take care of the lawn. Get started on dinner. Or just lay down and relax on your new carpet after it's installed. Get your free carpet installation started with the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Minimum purchase of $4.99. Exclusions apply. U.S. only. See store for details.
Become a part of the Horton team. We're looking for welders, painters, assemblers, machine operators, cabinet makers, and other positions to build emergency vehicles that help save lives. Join us at our hiring event on Wednesday, January 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. at 3800 McDowell Road in Grove City. We offer a huge $1,500 sign-on bonus and great benefits such as 401k match, medical coverage starting day one, and much more. For more information on what Horton can do for you, visit careers.revgroup.com and search Grove City.
Georgia Radio. Good company and great country.
Enjoying the country music.
Well, here we are. At our break, we're back with Matt, me, Wade, and with our guest, Harvey Williams.
Yeah, I just want to make a programming note here, Wade Peebles. If the listeners stay tuned tonight after your show, we're going to have a special live tribute tonight to the late, great Dick Flood, who passed away. And
Okefenokee Joe.
Yeah, Okefenokee Joe. Got a lot of his music tonight that we're going to be playing, and going to be a good time and some old country music. Going to be fun.
Bless his heart. We want to just say that I posted just before we went on Georgia Folk and Farm Life that Dick Flood, better known as Okefenokee Joe, was a friend of this program and a great guy. We've had him on as a guest, and Matt has too, interviewed him, and he passed away yesterday. So we want to just say what a great guy and great Georgian, a great font of wisdom that has gone, but not forgotten.
Amen.
All right, Harvey. Harvey, we were talking about photography in your book, and so when's your book going to be available?
That I don't know. My plan is to get it to the publisher. I will finish. I've got a few more descriptions to write. Probably, I think 3 descriptions, and is to get it to the publisher by Friday. My understanding, it takes at least approximately 30 days to get it in print. And what's going to happen is I'm going to get I'm going to order one book. That's for me to review to see if I need to do something different. And then afterwards, I will know the prices, and I will order more.
Well, we'll make sure it's available to our group members. And I want to say something. I've kind of been amiss. Is not you do so many things. You're a full-time pastor. You're there in the House of Deliverance there in Willacoochee at your church, and you do that. You write for your paper. You do your photography. You're members of the guild. Just so many things, and you have other books about your autobiographies about your life struggle with addiction and then overcoming that and becoming a preacher. And all the things, you've accomplished so much in your life, Harvey. But also, I'm sure most everybody, but I just hadn't mentioned lately, we have a sister group, Georgia Prayer Partners. And I started that group. And when I started it, I wanted to give a new venue for some people wanted fewer prayer requests on Georgia Folk and Farm Life. And I said, well, they'll always be welcome, but we're going to start a sister group just like we did when people were putting a lot of food and what they have for supper and cooking on Georgia Folk and Farm Life. I started GF&FL Recipes, and a spinoff sister group. And so most of that's over there now. And so we had people that just, good people that wanted fewer prayer requests. That's debatable about there's such a thing as needing less prayer. But I started that group, and as soon as I created it, I gave it to you without asking. I handed it off to you, and I put your name here. This is Harvey's group, and you're such a gracious, wonderful friend and man of God. You didn't hesitate, and you have made that group a special place. So people that are, if you're not a member of Georgia Prayer Partners, join, and it's a blessing to a lot of people. That is a great group, and so I just want to give a plug for that, and thank you again. And I also said for years I did the daily cover photos for Georgia Folk and Farm Life, and then when I saw your work, I'm like, I asked you to take that over. And you've never told me no. The day may come when I might overwhelm you. I might overwhelm you or overstep my bounds, but you have just been such a blessing. The things that you have helped me with is amazing. And I just want to say thank you. And it shows the quality of Georgia Folk and Farm Life went up when you became a part of it. Georgia Prayer Partners is a special place because of you and the others too. But you put your touch on it, and it does amazing things happen when you trust people to and let them take something and unto themselves and make it something greater than I could have. And I thank you for that.
Well, Wade, I appreciate the opportunity. Believe it or not, there are days when I'm so exhausted. The only photo that I'll post is that cover for Georgia.
I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know people look forward to it, and plus I'm committed to it, and it's something I can use the last ounce of energy to do. I put it like that. So it's my pleasure, man. The thing about photography, people often ask me about selling, but people got to understand blessings comes in more forms than money. I get a great blessing from blessing other people, and one of my greatest blessings is, for the most part, is peace of mind. I mean, that's priceless. That's absolutely priceless.
Amen.
And that comes from blessing somebody else. There are people that comment that if you didn't put these photos on there, I wouldn't know they exist. I wouldn't be able to see them. I can't get out there. Man, that's more important than money.
It's a ministry. It is. You have made it. I mean, not everybody can make photography a ministry, but yours is, and that's why why you're on here tonight, and that's why you're a part of everything we do, because it's more than just Harvey Williams. It's more than me. It's more than that. It's more than all the staff of moderators and administrators on the groups, and the contributors, everybody. But when you have people that make it special and people come to see, and that's what it's for, come to see, and you touch people and you have come to know, and I have too. That's one of the greatest things about Facebook and Georgia Folk and Farmland is the people I've come to know that I would never have known. I wouldn't have known Matt. I wouldn't have known you. I could make a long list, and I don't because I leave people out. But y'all know who you are. There's great. I had a Ralph Chapman today. We talked on the phone today. I wouldn't know Ralph Chapman had it not been for Georgia Folk and Farmland, and what a blessing that man's been in my life. And there are others. I could go do a whole show one night and just list these people, but then I would omit something or somebody. But it's a blessing, ain't it, Harvey?
Yes, of course. Of course. I mean, it's God's nature. That's the way I look at it. This all belongs to God. I don't own anything.
Amen.
You know, I don't even own the camera equipment I have, but it's the nature is God's. I mean, that's God's creation. I mean, if I'm compensated, that's fine. But my greatest compensation again is being able to just bless somebody, because out there, man, believe it or not, the presence of the Lord is out there. I mean, there's times when I might have a slow day, and I say I'm packing up, I'm getting ready to go. But just before I leave, man, here it is. Something comes along. And to me, that's a sign from God that, hey, I'm still with you.
Harvey, Donald Atkinson, he passed away, and he was one of my great friends and mentors. I learned so much from Donald. And he used to say, if God blesses you, tell it. And
Amen.
some people are hesitant to do that. They pull back. Well, I don't want God bless me with this, but I don't want. If God blesses you, share it. Now, God didn't bless you to show off.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's not showing off. It's sharing.
Right.
If you share, and so God's blessed you with the ability, and He's helped you become the photographer you are, and that you will be. This time next year, you're not going to be the same Harvey Williams nature photographer a year from the day that you are today. You're going to be better or different. And it's a growing, that growth. I have seen the growth in you that is nothing short of amazing, because you have come, you started out good, and we're not going to use, words like great, because you don't want to be praised.
No.
I know it's not why you're on here tonight. No. But there's nothing wrong with appreciating when you go out there and work to bring us photographs. There's nothing wrong with saying, Harvey, thank you for that. And there's nothing wrong with accepting that with humility. I think about a fellow I heard about one time that I know, I won't go call names, but at his funeral, the preacher said this guy was he was a humble man, and he said, and he took pride in his humility. And it struck me funny. I'm not one to laugh at funerals, but it don't work that way. You really can't take pride in humility. But that those cancel each other out.
Absolutely.
But you don't have to be humble to the point of being to disappear. That your talent. And in the Bible, God talks about that when He gave those talents.
Absolutely.
Some invest them, some bury them. And so if you're serving God with your talent, sharing it is the reason for doing it.
Amen. That's right. That's
now,
exactly
right. I don't know if you went out and took all these photographs and they were hidden away on thumb drives and disc or whatever, memory sticks somewhere, and we never saw them. What a travesty would that would be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, but remaining humble, that's not a problem. if you notice that when people comment on my work, I either say thank you, or if I talk on it, I always bring God in it. That's always going to happen, man.
Well, it's like I know. The Georgia folk and farm life has grown beyond my wildest expectations when I started in the spring of 2016. And I was talking to Judy about this week. I said, people constantly tell me they love my stories, they love what I wrote, and they do, and I appreciate it. But it hasn't changed who I am. I'm just me.
Right.
I do appreciate it and take it to heart. But the day it starts changing me in a recognizable way, I need to stop it.
Amen.
And God gives me the gift to write the things I write. I have written stories that when I read them later, I'm thinking, ain't no way I wrote that. There's no way I wrote that. That's a great story. And it's not great. And I'm thinking, I don't even remember writing that. I don't think I did that. Seriously. And so I don't, gloat or I'm very blessed by what we have received from this effort. And it's good when I can share it and when others grow in their Christian witness and their life, like you have with your photography, sharing it with us. That's a blessing.
And again, I want to be an encouragement. I don't want to take anything to the grave, as we say.
That's right.
I want to be able to inspire somebody else that's on the sideline looking, man, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. Well, nothing happens until you get up and do something.
Amen. That's right.
Yeah. Because like the book, the more I thought on this book, the more intimidated it became. Oh, man, I got to learn this. I got to put these use that template. I got to put it there, this and that. I got to do the text and all that. And once I started, I had probably an hour and a half of really frustration. What's going on here? Why couldn't they be more specific? Why couldn't they don't explain? But after about an hour and a half of that, things began to fall in place. I'm like, oh man, this is much easier than what I thought. But it never would have happened had I not stepped up to the plate and tried to do something.
Well, we're going to be watching and waiting for what's next, Harvey. And thank you for being with us tonight. We're coming to the end. And thank you for everything you do. And thank you for listening and to the podcast and Georgia Radio. Matt Jolly, thank you so much. Harvey, thank you so much. To all the listeners, we appreciate you being here. And Meeks Brothers Cattle Company, God bless y'all for sponsoring our show. A great organization. Great beef.
Wade, you going to be around tomorrow?
Yep.
I'll give you a ring. Harvey, you're going to be up later tonight, aren't you?
Of course.
Yeah. I'll give you a ring later. We got to do another show here, back to back. So y'all take care.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Harvey. Thanks, Matt. Thank you, everybody. Thank y'all.
Good night, y'all.
God bless y'all. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
All right, Brother Wade. I'll talk to you in the morning. And
10-4.
Unless you got anything to say on this next show. Just that you're going to bed. I was about to tell the story tonight, but I didn't want to tell it with Harvey talking so deeply and spiritually. But we were at I'll tell it now. We were at an aviation event, and there were all these aviation photographers standing there, and this old fella walks up to this guy that was probably in his 60s, and he says, "Young fella, you couldn't find anything better to take a picture of than a dadgum old airplane?" And this guy turns around and he says, "Well, I just retired and my wife told me I should get another hobby, and she wasn't real fond of me becoming a swimsuit model."
Yeah.
All right.
Bring on the airplane.
That's right. Good night, Wade.
Good night, Matt. Thank you.
Georgia Radio. Good company and great country.